Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated Legacy action. For today's midweek meta deck, I've managed to get my hands on a new card from Outlaws of Thunder Junction in order to play this absolutely wild deck from Punishing Waterfalls. We've played some of their decks on the channel before. They're a pretty good brewer and they want a challenge with this deck and it's wild, absolutely wild. So the starting point of this deck is kind of the Patchwork Automaton Stompy deck. So we've got our Patchwork here, we've got a bunch of 0-drops. No baubles though. We got like the 0-drop mana. We got Urza Sagas. We got Thought Monitors for the top end. That sort of thing. We've seen things like this before. But the build around card here really is Simulacrum Synthesizer. So this is a 3-mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, we scry 2. Whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater comes into play under our control, we get an Urza Saga token. So when we play our Frogmite that will cost 0 mana for us, it will make us an Urza Saga construct. When we play this, another one. Play this, another one. Skorpekh Lord. Sure, it's not the most impressive thing you've ever seen, but if we play this and get a free guy that we also pump, that's pretty good. And the fact we can unearth it, so when it comes in from unearth, it's going to make another one. That's pretty cool. And all these things, when we're casting these, are all going to pump up our patches and get some real damage in. We've got a couple of Metallic Rebuke for interaction, and then we've also got an Aether Spellbomb. We've got a light Urza Saga package here. Well, actually, it's not even that light, really, is it? It was more than you'd normally expect. So we've got Pithing Needle. We've got Springleaf Drum, so we can help cast the black on Skorpekh Lord. We've also got a Shadowspear, just to make one of our massive yachts have Trample and Lifelink. Soaring Lantern, which is pretty standard in as a Saga packages these days. And another new card, Lavaspur Boots. So this is 1 mana to equip, and it's +1/+0, haste, and ward. So we get this off the Saga, we stick on one of our big bodies, we smash, and it's pretty good. We have one Cradle, which can hopefully generate a lot more mana because we're going to have a load of guys. And there's one other card we need to talk about here. This is a Warhammer 40k card, Sicarian Infiltrator. 3 mana, flash, 1/2. It's an artifact creature. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. So it's 3 mana, draw a card for 1/2. But this will trigger our Synthesizer. And it has this other ability called Squad. So when we cast it, we can pay 2 as many times as we like as an additional cost. And we get that many more copies of this, which will then give us more copies of our things. And, you know, it's just going to snowball out of control. That's the idea. We're a full-on Stompy deck. We're not trying to interact with our opponent too much unless we're smashing their face. Which means our sideboard is full of interaction. We've got removal. We've got some disruption for some spells here. We've got graveyard hate. We've got some counter spells. We've got some more counter spells. And we've got a chill just to really ruin the Goblins player's day. And yeah, that's the deck. It's pretty wild, and I'm excited to have a crack with these new cards. So remember to like and subscribe, and let's get jamming. If you're looking to play Legacy on MTGO like me, why not try Card Hoarder? They're a rental service that I personally use, and I found them better than other rental services that I've used in the past. So why not give them a try? All right, we're on the play. What does our hand do here? We make patches, we play some stuff out. Yeah, this seems great. Let's just do the whole sort of old school affinity approach to Magic the Gathering. We could try and double up on patches and not play anything outside of our first patches. I think that's probably the highest return we have here. So we just play out patches now. Next turn we can play patches and then spam a bunch of other artifacts. Right, it's our opponent's turn. Cast a Ponder or something. There it is. I like it when my opponent doesn't impact the board when I'm trying to do big creature times. So we can play out this patches, then we get this, and then the Frogmite. I don't think we're going to have enough to do the Thought Monitor, but we'll see what we draw. Another patches, you say? Right, let's cast this. That'll pump our first patches. And I think it is worth just putting the damage on now. It's going to make this next patches less exciting, but that's okay. So we can play out this patches now, and then play out the Frogmite. Wow, we're going to be hitting for a lot of damage this turn. Please stop, sir. Alright, so we're hitting for 6 on turn 2, and we have lethal on the turn after, right? So we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright, turn 3 Goldfish, and 3 of our creatures have got ward. Don't hit the Miracle. Terminus would have been pretty good here, but I'm not sure what they can have from this point onwards, because we are quite far ahead, as you can imagine. Alright, so our opponent is going to be playing some white spells. I think we just want to keep maximum density of threats and just go in again. Do I want a Metallic Rebuke, or do I want this Chalice to stop things like Plow? I think that sounds better to me. Although, is our opponent going to have some horrible destroy your artifacts thing? Unlikely. But maybe we plan for that and do keep the Rebukes in? Like, what are we worried about? They could be Jeskai and have a meltdown. We've kind of seen Esper colours though, so I'm not really expecting... Alright, we're going to go for this so we can remove things like Plough from the equation. So this opening hand does not really go anywhere, does it? I think we can do better. I think we can do better than this as well. Indestructible land, Seat, Opal, play Skorpekh Lord? That doesn't sound great. Alright, we'll throw back this Shadowspear, and I guess we'll throw back the Petal. We'll try and build up towards a Thought Monitor to undo where we've gone to here. But this hand does not look very good. It doesn't take a lot to change it. Something like Patches or an Urza Saga would be great here. Alright, so let's just play our come into play tap land. We're going to be taking this one a bit slow. We won't play out the Mox Opal now in case we draw a Patches next turn and we can play that and then the Mox Opal afterwards. If we're not using it for mana, we shouldn't be playing it. Right, they've discarded a Source to Plowshares. Well, they didn't discard it, they surveilled it away, which is a surprise. Lavinia. Okay. So that's going to reduce the amount of things we can play. So this is going to make our Mox Opal a lot worse. Sicarian Infiltrator. So if we cast a spell without mana, then the Lavinia will counter it. So we're in a bit of a bind. I'm not sure we can actually beat this Lavinia. Nah, that's not true. We've got Sagas and all sorts in our deck. So if they've got Lavinia, Dismember's not a great answer for Lavinia at the end of the day because they can just... Like, we have to have 3 mana to dismember it. So that might be a bit awkward. I think we're just going to rely on being on the play in game 3, but it feels like we're going to get done here. We should have played out the Pithing Needle last turn, actually, just to get more artifacts, but we can't really play anything with Affinity, so maybe that's wrong. We're supposed to save it for the Patchwork. Alright, this is a very good thing to Pithing Needle. Are we going to get the Cauldron and just put this game to bed? Yeah, they're gone for the Cauldron. Let's Pithing Needle down. It's another uncastable card. Pithing Needle down. Stoneforge Mystic, please. What is our solution? The solution is draw Urza Saga, make Urza Saga construct tokens. That's a pretty good... Okay, so this can exile stuff. Presumably it's going to exile our Pithing Needle. Yep, there it goes. Don't see Gaea that often, but it's a pretty good card. Like, hurting graveyards and being able to kill 1-drops is pretty useful right about now in the old Legacy format. Right, let's take out this Plough. And we're just going to draw a card now. I was just going to get killed by the Gaea anyway. Synthesize, that's not really where we need to be right now. But this is the sort of thing that can get us back in the game. If we can just play that, it doesn't really matter if we're playing subpar cards. Because they're all going to come with a big booty. Alright, we are going to get Cauldron this turn. So this is 7 this turn and then lethal the turn after. How much damage does this do and when does it do damage? Not for a bit. So we need to draw land next turn or we're dead. So it's not like this member wouldn't actually help us in this spot. Because we wouldn't be able to kill the Lavinia due to the Lavinia. Which is certainly an awkward one. Urza Saga would be an interesting draw here. Just any land that isn't Ancient Tomb. Skorpekh Lord. Nope, we are dead. That was our last turn to do anything. Okay, so let's go back to the drawing board now. So, Lavinia. Dismember doesn't kill Lavinia unless we have 3 lands. And if we have 3 lands, we get to unlock most of our deck anyway. It's just these things that we don't get to cast. Just like straight away. Which is fine. Maybe we want Forces just to pitch and say no to Lavinia because we're really worried about it. But that does slow down what we're trying to accomplish. Chalice for... Maybe we don't care about their 1-drops that much. So maybe we're looking at something more like Flusterstorm. No, that's not going to work. Forces. Let's have a couple of Forces. And maybe we can board out a couple of these for a couple more Forces just to hit the Lavinia. And run like this. We don't have the highest blue count in the world. Do you want to get rid of more champions there? Oh, companions, sorry, not champions. We could turn these into like Metallic Rebukes. That's very low. We're certainly lowering our threat density, but if we can stick something like Simulacrum Synthesizer, that's probably good. Got a slightly better idea what our opponent's playing. Okay. Seems fine to me. We keep this. We probably play the island. We haven't seen Wastelands yet from our opponent. Right, so next turn we play the Saga and play the Patches, and then we just make some constructs and hopefully ride that to victory. And then, you know, follow up with, you know, some sort of threat. Skorpekh Lord. We'll get that down at some point. Right, Patches. Good enough for some action from our opponent, or do we just get to play it? Back to basics. Okay. I'm very glad we played out this island, because that incentivized our opponent not to play a back to basics. I do not want our opponent to play back to basics again. There's a Vista. Are they going to shuffle from this Ponder? They didn't shuffle from the ponder when they played it, but they can shuffle now if they just wanted one card from it. So now we're on making as a Saga constructs, which is a fine way to play the game. Our creatures will be big enough to dodge Bowmasters because we have the Seat of the Synod here. Let's just try and make some big boys. Brainstorm. So Dress Down is something that can definitely punish us leading into the Saga, but we should make our opponent have it and try and leverage everything we can out of everything we've got, rather than missing activations in a matchup like this, where every single piece we have is something our opponent has to answer. There's a Fled Strand. We could see a Stoneforge here. A Calder's pretty good at turtling up, if that's what they want to do. Or they can bring the fight to us, or they can Batter Skull. This feels a bit like a Dress Down. Are we supposed to... Like, we're obviously making this one. The question is, are we making the next one? I think it depends on what we draw. We didn't really have much else going on just yet. I think, given the resources we have in hand, we are going to make this construct. If they have the Dress Down, that's annoying. They might just be fetching around Pithing Needle here. They're ploughing this. Okay, that's not so bad for us. So then we get... What do we want here? Probably just the Mox Opal, which is switched on. We have 1, 2, 3 artifacts. So we'll get this Springleaf Drum down. And then we'll use this to play this Pithing Needle. Oh, what is that Gaea called? We don't want it to exile our things. Google tells me it's Gaea the Usurper. Orzhov Usurper. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artifacts. So this costs 2. The next one costs 1. So we can have a big turn next turn. But Lavinia can jam us up a little bit. We can still play stuff though. We've still got a Skorpekh Lord that we can jam. Or a Sicarian Infiltrator. We don't have enough mana to squad it yet. Alright, Plow. That reduces our count for Thought Monitor. We can still play one though. Feels like our window is falling a little bit. We get to cast one spell. We may as well make it the best spell we have for right now. This could draw us another spell that we can play. It can draw us lands. They could play a Bowmasters here and just immediately destroy our Thought Monitor. The draws that we're going to have. Alright. We're going to ping our poor little guy. Draw some cards. And then see what we draw and what mana we want to add to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. I guess we have to just let this one go. Alright. Not feeling like we're going to be winning this one. So we're going to take a hit for 4. We've got a reasonable life total to work with. But casting this other Thought Monitor doesn't feel amazing. Lavinia. I think we have to say no to this, otherwise we're never going to get to some of our top end stuff. And this Force of Will isn't going to work. Neither is this Metallic Rebuke. We need to find another land if we want to even cast the Skorpekh Lord. But I think we're just going to get crushed by this Lavinia. Yep, that's pretty good. So our opponent's Hellbent now, and they have a Lavinia. If we can draw a land, then we can continue to play this game. Patches. That'll do more or less. Keeps us going for another turn. Although we are just going to take a bunch from our opponent here. I don't think we can afford to block here. We need our patches to scale up for later. We do need to draw a land so we can cast this. Because at present, we only have 2 lands. Oh, it's non-creature spells with mana value greater than the number of lands. Oh. Oh, okay. This doesn't do as much as I thought it did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can just cast this. Not necessarily where I want to be. Okay, so we can cast a Skorpekh Lord. Scale up patches. We can scale up patches again by playing the Soul Guide Lantern. We've got 2 plows in there. Brainstorm, Ponder. I suppose it probably doesn't matter, is the answer to this one. I'm more than happy to crack this to stop our opponents doing more stuff. Am I going to attack for some damage here? I think so. This has got Menace. We should be the beatdown here. If they want to chip us down a little bit. Okay, we get to play another Skorpekh Lord. If we can find a bit more mana, we can do Sicarian with a bonus friend. And that'll be 2 2/2s with flash because of our Skorpekh Lords. But if we get the other Skorpekh Lord in play first, then these will be 3 2s. And that's pretty reasonable. Alright, they're back on blocks. Otawara, Soaring City. I think we're just casting our Skorpekh Lord here. Some damage on. So they have to put a reasonable amount of stuff in. They have to block this with 2 creatures. Am I okay to trade this off? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could just play this Thought Monitor. That gives them 2 pings and kills the Skorpekh Lord. I think we will just bash with... I think we'll bash with both. And put the pedal to the metal here. So we can play a Thought Monitor if the Bowmasters is one of the things that goes under the bus. If nothing goes under the bus and they just take 10, that's probably fine for us too. Another Bowmasters. Okay, that's pretty good when we have menace threats. They'll probably ping this Skorpekh Lord. Actually, no, they should probably just ping us here. Because they need to put 2 bodies in front of this anyway. And they're probably going to want to get rid of 2 1/1s. Yeah, okay. So if they're blocking this, we do get to kill 2 things still. Or they can block it with a 1/1 and the Orc Army. We can decide if we kill the army or the Bowmasters. Which is an interesting choice depending on how they block our other creatures. We very much like to clean these Bowmasters off and just start flexing with all these Thought Monitors. Lavinia was not as lights out as I thought. Non-creature spells. But the other side is any spell. Right. So I need additional blockers here. Or we're going to get both the Bowmasters. Oh, that's so good. Are we going to just clean out their whole board? That seems wild. Doesn't really matter which way around these go, does it? Okay, we'll say okay to this. Okay, I'll take that. I'll play this. Cast this for just 1 blue. And get to reload. Interesting selection of things we have here. I think we will make a mana and just get this in play. If our opponent's playing Murktide Regent, we're probably incentivized to crack the Soul Guide Lantern now. So we can play the Synthesizer, and then the turn after we can do 2 of these, which will give us 2 Synthesizer tokens, because each of these will come in separately and trigger this. Alright, we might have found ourselves a way through this one. We also have the Skorpekh Lord, which we can bring back with Menace. Prismatic Ending. That would keep this away forever. Ancient Tomb is pretty good here. Allows us to play the Simulacrum and then unearth this, if that's the thing we want to do. A seat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll be 6. Right, I think we want to get this card up and running, because this card seems pretty good. Another Synthesizer. Do I want another Synthesizer? I don't think we want the Shadowspear. I don't think that's what the game is about. Another Synthesizer will trigger the first, which is kind of ridiculous, isn't it? And then let's power up our friend here. Bash for 3. And these Synthesizer tokens are pretty large. And obviously being able to give them haste with Lavaspur Boots is also ridiculous. Okay, friend. I don't mind having a Force of Will. Put the boots on this guy. Let's go attacks. Let's see if we can bash you for all the damages. Looks like we can. Wowzers. Trousers. That's a lot of stuff that we did there. That is pretty gross. Alright, we managed to win the first one. Let's go to round 2. This opener requires us to draw some land. I'm going to mulligan this. Okay, I've played games like this before. I think we will probably ship the drum. So we'll begin with this Saga. Play out the Lavaspur Boots. Do I play out this Petal is the question. I think so. There's more discard in the format than things like Prismatic Ending right now. And I don't think our opponent would be that interested in taking the 7 mana 4/4 just yet. This allows us to make a hasty guy, but it'll be smaller, and that's not really what I'm about. Let's just play this out. And then next turn we get some graveyard hate, but our opponent could just go end of turn Entomb, untap, make a giant monster, and then we are not having a good time at that point. We do get to attack with 2 hasty, well, 1 token that we make at the end step, and then 1 hasty one. Please don't Entomb. Troll of Khazad-dûm. Okay, that's fine. We can definitely outclock a troll. It's like an Archon of Cruelty that's going to bury us, or an Atraxa, that sort of jam. Our opponent might be some sort of combo deck with Witherbloom Apprentice, which will obviously just shred through us if they get to do their combo, because we don't have the most interaction. But this is the stompy life we signed up for. Ancient Tomb. Okay. Reanimating. That's quite a big bite out of your life total, opponent. Alright, so what are we going to get here? We already have a Mox in play, so I'm less inclined to get a Mox. I think we probably are just getting the Soul Guide Lantern for future problems. Exile their land. It is what it is. Play out this. Our creatures are 6s. Play this out. Make this guy. Make this guy. Our creatures are large. That's what you're saying here. Alright. Stomping away. So we've seen some graveyard shenanigans, and we've seen an Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb plus Bayou. That's a strange combination. I don't really know what to think about that. So I think we can ditch some Metallic Rebukes. That seems relatively sensible. What about Pithing Needle? Does that feel like where we need to be here? Rather have a ley line than a Pithing Needle. I want to keep the drums and all that jazz. And then I guess we're probably just trimming one of these guys. It seems like the easy trim. Now this could be wrong. This might not be what we want. But all we've seen is reanimate troll. The Ancient Tomb though, that's really puzzling me. I'll probably work out what it is and go, oh yeah, it was so obvious, but not right now. Okay, this opening hand, we can start with the patches or we can just do the Saga plan. If we do the patches, it delays our Saga tokens for 2 turns. I think this is still keepable though. Also, if we do the patches one, we get to dodge Bowmasters a little bit. Grief. Okay, the choice might be taken out of our hands. We might just be on the Saga plan anyway. The pitch is Tractor, so we're right to bring in our ley lines. I imagine we're losing the patches here. It does force our hand towards this Urza Saga. But I guess if we play the Urza Saga out, we play the Shadowspear, so we'll actually dodge the Bowmasters with our construct tokens. Goodbye, friend. Alright, we're going to lose the Skorpekh Lord, who can reanimate anyway. Or we're going to lose the Shadowspear, which lets us win races. If what they're doing is like grief stuff, we should beat that with a Saga unless they're just sandbagging a Wasteland. Another Patches. I think Patches is fine here. This plays around Wasteland better. Because, like, do you Wasteland the Tomb or not? Alright, so they've got a Troll. So they could have another Reanimate here. Or they could have an Ancient, an Animate Dead. A Badlands. Okay, maybe the green is just for a splash. And we've been tricked. Alright. This is only when you cast artifact spells, so playing a Mistvault Bridge won't matter here. We can do this. And then we can cast ourselves a Soul Guide Lantern. We'll grow our friend and get rid of this troll. And protect us from future problems. We could crack this to look for other things. But I think given the nature of our opponent's deck, having a Soul Guide Lantern in play is probably for the best. So next turn we can make a friend. And play this Mistvault Bridge. Rotting Regisaur. Love to see the big Reggie. I haven't seen this guy for a while. Big fan. Who doesn't love dinosaurs at the end of the day? More zombie dinosaurs, please. Okay, so we're going to take a hit for 3 off the grief. This guy is some reasonably big news. I don't think we're attacking into their massive yacht, so we'll just pass. We get to make a guy that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're probably considering putting the patches under the bus, or we double block the grief is the other option and take 7. That seems reasonable to me. Well, we actually take 9 because we're going to take 2 from the tomb. And this will take just 2 more damage and put us to 11. So we don't get to use it very much. Legolas's Quick Reflexes. Well, we literally can't respond, so. Mountain Cycling. Okay. We've got a Tiger. Okay, are we Junding? Jund Reanimator? Is this Living End? Right, so this is going to shoot our patches down. They're going to take 2 damage off them with the Ancient Tomb, I guess. So 7, 8, 9, 10. So if we make a guy, it has to block. And taking 2 damage is better than taking 7. But I suspect we are going to lose this game. Alright. So we can make another chump blocker here. Is that better than making our little friend here? Then we get a Mox Opal, we can make the synthesizer here. We're cutting it a bit fine, for sure. Because this Ancient Tomb is probably off at this point, isn't it? Alright, let's play the synthesizer out. What have you got for us, deck? Better be good. A Skorpekh Lord. So we go 1, 2, 3, play a Skorpekh Lord, get a token. That doesn't do anything here. Problem is actually this grief more than the Regisaur. So we block here, we take 3. Opponent found another hit here. Grief. Oh wow, this has absolutely helped us out, I think. Well, they've got a grief in play that can just be another unblockable threat. But it puts... No, this is 3 to unearth, isn't it? Sorry, it's not 2. Why do I think it was 2? First time playing with cards, don't quite know their text in and out. So we have to block here or we die. Don't particularly want to die. How are we getting out of this jam? Probably not like that. We can make an Urza Saga token, make a Skorpekh Lord, have 2 blockers, but that's just not good enough, is it? Alright, I think we're right with our sideboarding here. Rotting Reggie does not die to Dismember. I think we can usually outpace the Regisaur, but it just didn't quite come together for us there. I think I like where we're set up, and we're just going to go back in. So we have the ley line. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can cast a Frogmite. Is ley line plus Frogmite good? Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel like the sort of thing we want to be doing. I think we need to get a hand that's more powerful. Alright. This seems more powerful to me. This. It's probably the Cradle that goes here. We don't have as much interaction, but I think our plan is going to be reasonably effective against our opponent anyway. Make sure we can get this out of our hand and pump our guy. They don't know what Graveyard Hate we're playing. Aside from the Soul Guide Lantern, of course. But that's just like a main deck tool. Let's play this one out. Let's play this out. Let's play this guy out. I think it's worth casting this. Just to pump our creature. The more we hit them, the worse Reanimate becomes for them. So we bash them for 6 this turn. We've got 9 damage of Menace next turn. So Reanimate is kind of off for like the big scary guys. So if they reanimate this, they'll get 8, and we've got 6, 7, 8, 9 points of Menace damage. Now, if they can go into and reanimate something good, then we might just be undone here. Oh, wow, they're just doing it. That's wild to me. Do you have an answer for our Skorpekh Lord? Because you're dead on board. All right. We're just done. Skorpekh Lord getting it done. Yeah. Our turn was pretty good. Okay, we're 2-0. Let's go to round 3. All right, we've got a Patch's Hand into Saga. That's the sort of thing we want to do. We can do some synthesizing down the stretch. If that becomes a better option for us as well. Ancient Tomb. Patches. Mox Opal. Scale up our friend. Can't quite turn that on yet, though. Another 0-drop would be quite handy for us. Or even a 1-drop artifact so that we can play the synthesizer and our Saga. Delver of Secrets. Good old-fashioned Delver of Secrets. Ancient Tomb. That's not the one, is it? Do we jam the Simulacrum here? It will pump our guy regardless, and that's kind of an important thing. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to climb with this. And this will turn on our Mox Opal if it resolves. Can I expose us to... Oh, we're just in. Okay. Excellent stuff. Spellbomb. Thought Monitor. So we have 1 artifact, 2 artifact, 3 artifact. I think Thought Monitor is where I want to be right now. On the bottom. I don't mind the Aether Spellbomb though. That gets us around some of the scary things. Like it's a cheap pump for our Automaton. And we can play that whilst holding up the Saga and doing stuff. It means that we're not going to get outclocked by a Murktide. If Delver flips and that's putting too much pressure under us because of our Ancient Tombs, we just send it away and buy ourselves some extra time. A Lightning Bolt. Okay, so we're effectively on 10 here. Not sure how many taps of our Ancient Tomb we are realistically going to get. I guess if we kept the Thought Monitor, we have 1, 2, 3 artifacts, 4, 5, 6, 7. We could maybe cast a Thought Monitor next turn. Maybe that would be... Yeah, maybe we were supposed to keep that Thought Monitor, actually. Alright, I just live in too much fear of Murktide, perhaps. It's my general day-to-day life. Let's play this as a Saga out. Play Spellbomb out. Let's crash for 4. Problem with playing out the Thought Monitor is that it would be dazeable, which isn't really what you want for your Thought Monitors. But they did show us they probably didn't have daze last turn with the Simulacrum. A Brainstorm. Pretty good. I put the card on top. That's also a little bit distressing. If we'd have kept the Spellbomb into the Thought Monitor, that'd also be pretty good. Yeah, I think we made a mistake there. Another Channeler. So we can bounce the Insectile Aberration here and save ourselves quite a lot of damage. We'll end up with less artifacts in play. So if we draw any affinity cards. We're mostly locked into playing this anyway. I think we bounce this. It's a little bit aggressive, but I think it will mean the mass lines up more favourably for us. They've already played a land this turn, so they can't play anything else to play this Delver. So we just take 1 this turn instead. And then we can just start cranking out some large Sagas, which are very good in game 1 against Delver as a general rule. So this is when you cast, so we're not going to get a construct from doing anything just yet. We're not going to make the construct to pump our patches because it doesn't work that way. It's Kappa Cannoneer that gets pumped whenever you get an artifact coming into play. Slightly different wordings, but we're going to have a very large boy that's then going to have a large hasty friend. So that should be enough to even overcome a Murktide, I would imagine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, that both be 7s, and even though they play a Murktide, the stuff in their graveyard means it's not going to be very big. Brainstorm. I guess they could make it 6. Is the biggest they can make it this turn. Spell Pierce. Left a card on top. Okay. Basic Island from our opponent, and that Delver that we knew about. Wonder. I don't know if they still have that Lightning Bolt kicking around. They could have brainstormed it away. So next turn they could be looking at doing a Murktide, but I think that's going to be too late. because all of these guys are going to have to go under the bus, I think, because they're only on 7. So you could draw the boots instead of shooting for them. They could have a counter spell. That'd be really strong. Yep, so they're going to crash in for 6 here, but we're going to have some lethal threats. As long as we don't draw the little boots and we can shoot for it instead. We didn't draw the little boots. We're okay. So we have an 8 power attacker and a 7 power attacker and a 4 power attacker. Our opponent has 1 blocker. Alright, we got that game. So Delver is going to be trying to Meltdown us. What is our solution to beating Meltdown? Is it Flusterstorm? I think Metallic Rebuke is probably not where we need to be. I think it's probably looking at like Flusterstorms and maybe a couple of forces here. Chill is interesting, I suppose, but I don't think that's where I need to be. We're looking at something along these lines. Maybe we want 2 more forces just because of how much of a beating Meltdown can be. And we're just getting rid of these other big expensive guys. We'll try that. I have 0 experience of how to operate this deck, so... Okay, Patches is where I would like to start most games. I think we'll keep this one. Patches into a Saga game. We would like to see a Ponder rather than a threat this turn. A Ponder. You love to see it. Okay, so we can do Patches. The only issue here, I find, is that if we're doing Patches on turn 1, it means we're really delaying our Saga plan. Okay. Patches down. We might even not be playing Saga next turn. We might just play this Synthesizer. Because this is a hard one for our opponent to melt down itself, because they need 4 mana to do that. They didn't daze our Patchwork. Another... Okay, that does change the maths on things. Now we just play this other Patches. And our opponent is probably looking at a meltdown for 2. So we play this, and if they do meltdown, we then get to start Sagaing. So we have stuff that's worth meltdowning already. We should have played this first to play around days. Although maybe we're trying to bail out the days and we didn't have it last time. I don't know. Alright. Are we going to see an Orcish Bowmasters here? No. They've only got red mana. They might just be straight up. Well, we've seen the Questing Druids. They might just be the Seek the Beast splash. I think you do this in response to our guy, just in case you find something you want. A Bauble. That's relatively useful here for them. Puts an artifact in the graveyard, which is one of the harder types to find. So it means they're more likely to get a 3/3 channeler, which is what they're going to need to try and race this. Also getting more cards into their graveyard so they can try and get some Murktides up and running. Alright, so they don't have a Delver in hand. Otherwise you'd save that for the Delver. They didn't play a Wasteland this turn, which is also good news for us. Lightning Bolt. Paying the ward. Right. This is the play of someone who doesn't have a Meltdown in their hand. So keep that in mind. They didn't have a Wasteland for our Saga, so we can probably ride this a little bit more. Now would be a good turn to draw like the come into play tap land. I don't really want to expose our blue source when we're not casting the Synthesizer. So I think I'm actually going to play the Ancient Tomb here. Just crack for 1 and make a 2/2. So the other option here is we could have played the Synthesizer and the turn after played the Sicarian Infiltrator with the Squad 2 and get 2 triggers off of this. But I think we just want to leverage our cards here in terms of like the Saga. Like this gets us at least 1 guy. And if this tutors for our Scary Boots, our opponent's probably going to be unhappy with that. We might not even get the boots straight away. We might just get the Shadowspear and then save the boots for the next Saga we draw. Because we have a lot of resources here. Right, we're doing another one of these, are we? The old 3 mana Lightning Bolts. That is not the play of someone who's happy about how their game is going. So in the end step, we'll make a friend. On tap, we'll draw a card and we'll see what sort of friend we want to make now. Alright, we have a blue card to go with our Force of Will. I will make a friend. I think I'm going to get the Mox Opal here. That gives us an additional blue source if we want it. So we could play this Synthesizer, or we could play the Skorpekh Lord and get more damage in. I think we're going to play a Synthesizer around days here. This will also pump our constructs. Not as much as the Skorpekh Lord, because this will be +2 on each one. Okay, deck. What have you got on top? A Seat and a Force. We don't really want these, I don't believe. We don't want the Force. The Seat does give us some play here with... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can make 2 copies of this and get loads of guys. But if we have to pitch our Force of Will, it does give us mana to play Skorpekh Lords without tapping our Ancient Tombs, which I'm fine with as well. Alright, let's Crash him for a quarter of our opponent's life total. And then next turn, a Skorpekh Lord is, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 damage? So a Skorpekh Lord is lethal, if nothing else changes here. And we also have the Sea of the Synod, which is worth 2 damage on top. Questing Druid. Another land. Okay. We have a counter spell for the one thing we're worried about, if and when that happens. Play this, grow our guys. Play this. Black, 1, 2. This also gives our guys Menace, which is pretty tasty on this board. A Force of Will, pitching Force of Will. Honestly, that's fine. We have another one. This also has Unearth. So, good luck with that opponent. We're just trying to counterspell the one scary thing that we're worried about. So our opponent probably has to block here. They could have a Lightning Bolt, but then they're just firing loads and loads of resources off to try and die slower. And then we have a counterspell for something big that can roadblock us. Although we don't even care about something big roadblocking us if we've got Menace on 2 creatures available. Also, if our Skorpekh Lord ever enters the battlefield, we get our Simulacrum triggering. Just another friend. Yeah, our deck feels pretty good. Meltdown is one of the things we're saving a Force of Will for here. They can't even counterspell our Skorpekh Lord if we unearth it. Another Brainstorm. Our opponent is digging for that. Alright, they don't have it. Yep, I was going to say they were digging for that Meltdown, but it wasn't in the top 3, so we are 3-0. We're absolutely cruising today. Let's go to round 4. We're on the play for round 4. What does our hand do? We can play a Synthesizer, or we can just play a Saga game for a bit. I think this is fine. Let's just start with a Saga game, and then we can sort of pivot if we need to. This tells our opponent we have an Ancient Tomb in hand. That's what the Urza Saga Pass means. Or we're like a painted deck that's racing to the combo. A Channeler, sure. Hopefully we'll have a similar result to the previous round against Delver. They've already got 3 types in the graveyard for the purposes of Dragon's Rage Channeler, so this is going to be a real clock. Ancient Tomb is not free. The life on this could be the difference here. Alright. So we get to make a construct. We can make a construct, maybe get some Shadowspear action, just sort of stabilize against their aggro. Or we could go super aggressive. So this will be the 4th type, so they're going to hit us for 3 this turn. A Delver of Secrets, more damages coming our way. We could opt for a different line using our Synthesizer this turn. So this goes and gets us a Mox. We play this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana available. And we also have 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana available. So we can play Simulacrum and just play out more guys. That ends up being more damage. And this is going to be a race rather than a marathon. So I think we go for this plan. That's for blue. This Synthesizer. If this doesn't resolve, this gets a little bit awkward for us. But if this does resolve, then we are... Oh wow, we are absolutely in here. Another Simulacrum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all these things are going to be like more or less free to cast for us. I think we'll keep both of these. And now we get to play this, which will trigger our Simulacrum. So we got 6 here. So we can cast this one for free. Alright, our opponent's had enough. Yeah, we went big. So what did we do last time? I believe we just brought in things to deal with our opponent's meltdowns. And that was it. So it was just the Flusterstorms and the Forces. So we took out these and we took out the Rebukes. Do we take out Pithing Needle? We can name Wasteland, but if we're fetching the Pithing Needle, like we've already done what we wanted to with our lands. Is this a case of, is it better to have this Pithing Needle or this Sojourner's Companion? Sorry. I reckon we'll just have one of these. Alright, our opening hand is once again playing the Saga thing, but we don't really have any blue mana and we do get completely buried by a single Wasteland. I think we're going to go for something a little better. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can play the Frogmite. Then what are we doing? On the draw, though, is this okay? If we draw any land, this hand becomes pretty good. Frogmite is not a great Magic the Gathering card, though. So we do get to play the Frogmite. I think we're going to mulligan. We got better draws here. Oh, jeez. All right. Sure. I guess. We're going to get rid of one of these. We're going to get rid of one of these. We have to get rid of another card. Do I want this Frogmite? We can almost cast this Frogmite, and it is mana. I think we just get rid of the Force of Will here and just keep the things to play our game and hope that we can get there. Obviously, if we draw an Ancient Tomb, then all of a sudden things are looking up for us as well. So we can just jam this Simulacrum Synthesizer and the Frogmite will trigger it, and then we'll be working with some decent damage. We are still exposed to Meltdowns, but at least the Meltdowns don't kill our Frogmite. Can't believe I'm saying that for a sentence, but there we are. A Force of Will. Okay, so we'll play this. We'll play a Springleaf Drum so that we at least have the possibility of making some mana down the stretch. I think we have to Force of Will a Meltdown. Right, another bauble from our opponent. Many, many baubles. That might be all the baubles in their deck. A Sicarian Infiltrator. That doesn't do anything for us. 1, 2, 3. We're 1 mana shy of this Frogmite. Flooded Strand. Feel like our opponent's on quite a defensive posture over there. Okay, we found a card. We could play this Frogmite or we could save it for the Synthesizer, but I think we have to do something when we can do something. This will give us more mana down the stretch as well because of the Springleaf Drum. I don't think this is worth countering unless our opponent's grip is just absolutely full of stuff and they can hardcast a Daze here. We will not be counterspelling that. We need to save ourselves for some sort of Meltdown. This Frogmite will allow us to make tokens because it can tap in the Springleaf Drum. If our opponent Meltdowns us, then obviously we're counterspelling that. Say Lightning Bolt our guy. I don't think we're fighting over that because Meltdown is just really bad for us. We're just trying to tread water a little bit here. Wasteland. That's devastating. Gonna be tough here. Ancient Tomb. That helps us out. We have a decision to make here. Are we going to force whatever interaction our opponent has or not? This card gets very out of hand. But if we force this, we don't get to cast a force in response to anything like a Meltdown. This is a Force of Negation. I think we have to go somewhat all in on this one. This is a card that can solo win the game for us. They don't have a Daze. They would have fired it off then instead. They got a Force of Will as well. Okay. We have sweet nothing going on now. Has our opponent got a threat now? Red, red, blue. Interesting colour combination. Brotherhood's End. Yikes. So they're not on the Meltdowns, they're on the patches. So we can keep this for the... they're on the Brotherhood's End rather than the Meltdowns. And because we have patches in our deck, we're going to keep this Mox Opal. Until our opponent actually starts cracking into our life total, we can still win this one. Again, we're going to keep these for the same reasons. Any sort of threat here to start applying pressure. Like a Murktide, this game will end very quickly and we won't be able to come back from that. We need to kind of spin our wheels and get some energy going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are still not there, so we won't play these out. Ponder's pretty good. They're just looking for a way of closing this game now. They put themselves so far ahead. Like they're ahead from the start because we have to mulligan so aggressively. But we've still got a game 3 on the play if we need it. Okay, so they didn't draw a land off that Ponder. Flusterstorm. I don't think we're going to be playing that out. Excuse me. I think burning a Lotus Petal to cast a Flusterstorm isn't really going to matter because the thing we're trying to Flusterstorm is Meltdown, which doesn't matter right now. Brainstorm from our opponent. A Delver of Secrets. So now they've got a win condition going. Understood. A Frogmite. This is the card we can actually cast. Give me a Lotus Petal. Give me a Mox Opal. Give me a Frogmite. This works us towards the Thought Monitor as well. So next turn we might be able to cast a Thought Monitor, which can at the very least trade with a Delver of Secrets. Once again, there is a Lightning Bolt pointed at my Frogmite. Is this what I'm going to fight? I think, sadly, it is. Let's Flusterstorm. This is a big no button because a lot of spells. Alright, opponent. It's me done for this turn. If we can play this Thought Monitor, I think we can creep back into this game. Let's see what you find off your Delver of Secrets. I flipped it to another Lightning Bolt. Oh no, they're definitely just going to straight up bolt our Frogmite because we decided we didn't want to have our Frogmite bolted. So yeah. Okay, opponent. We're now a long way off of doing anything. This looks... Oh, another Brotherhood's End. Well, at least we know they got 2 copies. And Brotherhood's End for 3 mana is pretty good. Okay, as a Saga. That could get us there. We can get the Shadowspear and maybe that pulls us back into a sort of stable position. But any big creature here, another creature at all is a problem, but it doesn't have to flip. So this will put us to 9. Then next turn, they can put us to 3. Alright, a Force of Will I don't really want. Just flipping. We're going to flip to Lightning Bolt in classic faction. Days. So we go to 1. We have a 1-1. I don't think we're winning this one, are we? Okay, I think I like how I've sideboarded here. We've seen how devastating Brotherhood's End can be. I think we just have to respect that. And I'm just going to ball in like this, I think. I think we do still want the Spellbomb. Swinging a race can be huge with it. So let's just jam. I don't think I want to bring in Chalices or anything like that. We just kind of want to do our thing. There's a turn 1 Mistvault Bridge, turn 2 Patchwork Mox. I think that's fine. I'm not in love with it, but I'm willing to keep it. An indestructible artifact is certainly not unhelpful. And if we draw a 1-drop, we can cast off the Mox Opal potentially. We can always try and play this Patchwork around a days, but that will come at the cost of our Mox, which will be pumping up our Patchwork in the first place. So, swings and roundabouts there. Alright, they didn't have a threat. An Ancient Tomb. Alright, I'm just going to play this Saga out. Play Patches. Please resolve. Brainstorm. Okay, our opponent's looking for a daze here. Maybe they would Force of Will this as well, given the opportunity. I don't think we actually play out this Mox this turn. We wait until next turn in case we draw another Patches and we want to pivot our plan. There is a daze. Alright, so we will not pay. You go ahead, opponents. We've got quite a land-heavy hand, which I don't think is the worst, given the Wastelands and Brotherhood's End hitting our mana base over there. Alright, opponents found a threat. Sicarian Infiltrator. So we can make our guy bigger, but that does expose it to... So if we play this Seat... Do you want to play out this Mox this turn? What does it actually do for us? Nothing, really. We can play out the turn we want to attack. I guess the one thing it does do is mean that our creature can't immediately be lightning bolted. But if they're bolting one of our tokens, I think I can probably live with that. Right, they're brainstorming to make sure their Delver flips. A lightning bolt. So we're going to be a little bit punished by not playing that Mox out, maybe. Wasteland. Alright, so we'll make a friend. We're not going to get our tutor off, but we at least have 3-3 in play. So we can trade blows back and forth with our opponent. Frogmite, you say. Let's play out this Mox. See if this resolves. We can play this out for free. It grows our construct. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can just play a Sicarian Infiltrator doubled up right now. Cast with squad. Squad 1. So we need to pay this, 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 this. This will get us 2 cards and +2 on our construct. Otawara, not unhelpful at all. And this other one gets us a Shadowspear. That's very useful here. Our opponent needs another mana to fire off a Brotherhood's End here. That's why I'm willing to go all in and try and get the smashing down now. Like, there's no denying that the Brotherhood's End is going to be savage. But we want to do enough damage that maybe our Frogmite can pick things up afterwards. Which is a phrase I didn't expect to hear myself saying. Molten Collapse. And killing our construct. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we can play our Cradle, and that'll tap for 3, which is pretty good. That's play and equip Shadowspear. I think our opponent's coming in here for 3 damage. No. Ooh, cowardly. Skorpekh Lord. Ooh, I like that one as well. Alright, so let's just play this Skorpekh Lord right now. Let's play the Shadowspear. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, they're forcing that. Interesting. Alright, so they can't block our creatures anyway. Feels like we might be getting Brotherhood's Ended. But Skorpekh Lord has haste when you unearth it. Maybe that'll be enough. We'll put our opponent to 2. But they have to have the land and they have to have it now. And they have to have the Brotherhood's End, which they may or may not have. They're attacking. So they didn't block last turn because they couldn't block because of the menace. I guess they didn't know the menace was coming. That's why I think they would have been better off blocking. If we attack with everything, it's okay for us. Feels like an Orcish Bowmaster's coming. But we can always bounce it. We could bounce our own Skorpekh Lord here. But it being in the bin isn't the worst. So they can trade with our Frogmite. Or they can just eat one of these little friends. But now we know they can't Bowmasters. So how much does this cost? Let's play our land first. So this costs 3 mana. So 1, 2, 3. We'll draw a couple of cards. Now there's no Bowmasters to worry about. Alright, opponent's had enough. Alright, we are 4-0. So let's see if we're about to get a trophy or not. Let's jam. Alright, welcome to the final round. What does our hand do exactly? I don't like this one. I think we need to mulligan towards something actually useful. Okay. This is turn 2 Synthesizer Frogmite. If I can do my maths here. We probably throw back the Infiltrator. So we go keep. We throw back the Infiltrator. We go turn 1. Play Lavaspur, Pithing Needle. Untap. Play the Mox. Play the Synthesizer. Play Frogmite. That seems pretty reasonable. And, you know, we're going to get 2 more draw steps as well. So we might shake something else loose. Alright, we're going to get... Alright, we're just going to get turn 1 here, aren't we? Entomb. There it is. Grizzlebrand. Okay. And reanimating. If they look at our hand, then I'll definitely scoop. Lotus Petal. Sure. Faith is looting. So I think we can realistically overpower this Grizzlebrand. I don't know. Okay, we're not going to let them see our hand when they're already this far ahead. Alright. I'm going to bring in some Leyline of the Void here. So we're going to take out these Metallic Rebukes. We don't really need Pithing Needles, so that can go. I don't really think this is a Shadowspear matchup. They could have a pivot, but if they're on the red-black, they're unlikely. So that just gives us 4 ley lines. We kind of get to keep all our other stuff going on. I think that's reasonable. We could like board in some Flusterstorms and stuff, but I think that's just overboard here. We just want a ley line hand and just go fast. We can sometimes outpressure what they're doing, because as you see in this deck, can pull some pretty impressive starts. All right, no ley line here. We do have a Soul Guide Lantern. We can't cast... Oh, we can cast it, but we don't really get to cast any other spells. So we're going to mulligan this. I think this is keepable. We throw back the Thought Monitor. We try and play... Like, we've got a lot of tools that I'm certainly interested in here. We get to play out this. We also get to play out this. I think we want to get the Spellbomb in play. I won't play out this Mox Opal yet, but having the Spellbomb in play is putting us towards Metalcraft, and it's also going to be a useful thing that we don't want discarded, because if they do like show and tell something in, we can at least bounce it, provided we can find the mana for it. All right, that's not what we wanted right there, is it? So this will pop. This will pop next turn. If we play out this Mox Opal, what is this going to get us? This is going to get us... Yeah, I don't want this Mox Opal discarded, I think. Well, we might just be in trouble with this game. We'll see. Like, I think our hand is certainly reasonable enough. If we'd have drawn a land this turn, then obviously we'd have been laughing. Right, are they going to play a Serenity? No. We're going to see a Dark Ritual into Show and Tell. Show and Tell. Okay. Would I like this Synthesizer in play, or would I like this Patches? That's an interesting choice. Either of them turns on the Mox Opals. That doesn't matter. I think Synthesizer... I want the Scry. Ancient Tomb is mana. Does kind of help with some of the things we're trying to accomplish. Put this on the bottom. Guess we put the Ancient Tomb on top and draw that for turn. Right, in response to this, we will return this to their hand. So they want to go more, they have to pay now. Yep. Okay, so they're going to 4. So a couple of Lotus Petals and another Show and Tell, and we are very much dead. Normally I was kind of hoping to have another turn or so before the Show and Tell really comes to bite us, but our hand didn't really get anywhere. Right, we are on F6 mode here, so be my guest. Strip all the cards from my hand if you wish. If that's the best you can do, then I can live with that. Maybe we're supposed to put the Patchwork in just so we have something to chip them down if they're paying a load of life. Maybe that was an error from my part. Our opponent's got to discard quite a few Magic the Gathering cards right now. They probably have 3 Show and Tells in their deck, but they could have the full 4. Right, discarded. So they're running the Shadowgrave tech as well. We don't get to make a token here. We do get to find something. What do we find in this situation? Do we want the Soul Guide Lantern as a redraw? It's a redraw that if we redraw, it takes us off. Or we can take the Lavaspur Boots, so any creature is just going to be big and chunky and hasty. So if we can find like a Frogmite, we can put our opponent to 1. Dark Ritual into Show and Tell again. Or just straight up Show and Tell. Dark Ritual. Well, we have nothing here, opponent. If you can do the thing, you can do the thing. There's not much we can do about that. Show and Tell. We have no cards in hand, so this is probably not great for us. Yeah, I think we can probably call it a day here, can't we? All right. Did not quite come together for us there. We had some weak hands, and our opponents had some good hands. And that's Magic the Gathering, but I think we gave the deck a pretty good showing. So let's talk about this list. Clearly, this is a very powerful Stompy strategy. But what I would like to say is it really showcases Lavaspur Boots as a thing that completely throws out people's maths. Because turning your big guys, so you get to swing with both guys effectively off of your Saga on the turn that you've got both guys, which is an enormous influx of damage that is enough to overwhelm people. So I think we really showcased that well today. The synthesizer was good. I wouldn't say it was like amazing, but we did have a couple of games where it popped off a bit. The fact is, it's a thing that when you play it doesn't do anything necessarily. Like the Scry 2 is fine, but paying 3 mana for a Scry 2 is no good. So you do need to have follow-up for it to really work and pull its weight. And sometimes our deck incentivizes us to play things out early, so to make our constructs bigger here, or to pump our patchwork. So we might not necessarily have things in play when the synthesizer's going, but I did enjoy what this had to offer. And I think maybe there's some other builds you can play that do similar-ish things. Skorpekh Lord was really good, actually. The +1/+0 is fine, but quite often it's +2/+1, right? Because it's pumping constructs or pumping your patches. So it's kind of going to be more pump than you would initially think. The Menace, though, that is real news. You can send your boys in and they will get the work done. And the fact that you can unearth it again is really sweet. And yeah, being able to unearth it in Synthesizer is cool, but I think just Skorpekh Lord on its own was pretty impressive for what it was. I was happy about this one. The Sicarian Infiltrator was mainly just a blue card in our hand, but we did have that one time where we played it with squad, and I think that was the thing that tipped us over the edge to winning that one, because it gained us an extra card that sort of dug us deeper. And then when we followed up with the Skorpekh Lord, it was just, oh, they don't get to block this turn. They've held back their Delver, so our life total wasn't under pressure, and then they're taking pressure that they can't do anything about. So that was really sweet. Honestly, this deck felt pretty good. I don't believe this deck needs to be a Gaia's Cradle deck, though. I think you could trade that in for a basic island, and the deck would feel better. You can even trade it in for a Mistvault Bridge, and it would feel better. I don't really think the Cradle was adding anything, but I believe the pilot of this deck who built it in the first place said a similar thing after winning the challenge anyway. So that's not exactly news. Sideboard-wise, yeah, we had some tools. I think Dismember not being able to kill Lavinia is kind of interesting and maybe means that we should have a different removal spell. But what removal spell, I'm uncertain, because obviously Dismember kills the Troll of Khazad-dûm if you need to, although we can usually outclock that with what we were doing. Maybe Lavinia is a relatively niche card that we don't need to be super indexing against anyway, so perhaps a Dismember is right. Chill, like a singleton chill, is rarely going to come up. This is a singleton and we don't have any ways of tutoring it, but you will jam people up with it every now and then. But maybe we could just have like another Dismember for when we want that effect, or another Flusterstorm. We're not drawing like masses and masses of cards. We've got a few Scries in our deck, and we've got a couple of Thought Monitors, and that's kind of it for our card draw. So I don't really think we're like a Delver deck with all the selection where if you play a one-of, you're actually going to see it a decent percentage of the time over the course of a tournament. But I think we showcase what this deck can do. But I think the fact that we're not playing, counter spells, we've only got these Metallic Rebukes and things, you can definitely fight this. We saw how we got absolutely pounded by some Brotherhood's End, and obviously the deck that just went over the top of us doing something bigger in the Reanimator absolutely ruined us. So, it's not like this is going to be the new thing that's dominating Legacy, but it's very much a real deck. And if you like playing sort of stompy strategies, which is kind of what the 8-cast morphed into. It went from 8-cast into like 4 or 5, or I think it's like 6-cast now, with Patchwork Automatons is like the main thing you're trying to do, and it's just a lot more aggressive. This is kind of like the next step along that train. And it felt like a pretty good step. A few little bits of tweaking here and there, and more games with it to sort of round out the numbers and work out exactly how many you should have. Like, do we need 4 of these? Uncertain. I think the Frogmite worked out pretty well for us, but this got stuck in our hand once or twice. And I don't think we did have to mulligan a hand with the Cradle in because it wasn't any other land. So there is definitely some ways I think you could probably improve this deck, but not necessarily that much. It's pretty much a clean slate. Like the Sicarian Infiltrator could be other things too, right? It's a thing that triggers our synthesizer, but it could just be other cards without really changing how the configuration of our deck. Probably wants to be blue if we're going to keep running these forces in the board. So you would need a blue card of some description. And I don't think we're running size or anything like that because we're not like a bauble deck. We don't spam out a load of zeros. Which did make the Mox Opal feel a little bit weaker actually in some situations. But we do have more artifact lands to kind of make up that shortfall. So all in all, I think the deck's pretty sweet. I'd happily play this one again. It was an absolute blast to play, just smashing people up Stompy style. Once upon a time, I used to play a fair bit of Eldrazi Stompy, so I'm no stranger to make us the big guys and turn them sideways sometimes. It's quite cathartic when you need that sort of thing. You know, sometimes you want to be playing the decks where you're casting all your ponders and you're surveilling and trying to like get all these little margins, and sometimes you just want to play some massive guys. I obviously didn't play this perfectly. I think we picked a couple of spots where I could have done things a little bit differently, but it's just sort of getting new to not only like the new deck, but also new cards in the deck that don't have any sort of reps on the play patterns around like Synthesizer and things. But nevertheless, I think we showcased this one nicely, and once again, congratulations to Punishing Waterfalls for winning another challenge. Deck was sweet. Thanks for sharing it as well. And if you're still here, remember to like and subscribe if you're watching my channel. It really does help it out. And I'm always happy to hear what you think of stuff in the comments, so by all means let me know what you think of this wild deck indeed. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths, as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month, as well as regular articles, and lastly, the higher tier gives you all of the above, as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.